We literally tried to get our van to catch on fire again.
Yeah, well, no.
You can imagine my joy.
Good time. We're chasing every moment, all the good nights. We're always looking out and it's a good life. We go around the world for a show. And it's a good time. We're chasing every moment, all the good nights. We're always looking out and it's a good life. No, we are never letting this go.
Hey guys, it's Kat from the Motorhome travel website Wandering Bird, where we share tips and tricks for touring the UK and Europe in a motorhome or a camper van. Today we're going to be talking about something that was quite scary, actually. I know I'm laughing and joking, but it was quite serious. We had a fire in our motorhome. It wasn't as dramatic as perhaps that sound. There was no billowing flames and there was no singeing eyebrows. But we did actually have a fuse burning through in our motorhome. So to help me tell the story, because I know nothing about electronics and I'll probably say something really wrong, I have got my helpful, trusty assistant here.
You have?
Yeah, I have. So let us quickly set the scene for these good people. We were in our motorhome, funnily enough. We just left a campsite on the south of France in the Verdon Gorge. And we were on our way back north. And I got out to take a photograph. I do that a lot. And as I got back into the van, I could smell burning. Now, there's a couple of weird things about this. One is that I have no sense of smell whatsoever. Like, well, that's probably a little extreme. Yeah, I have a very bad. I have a very bad sense of smell. Yes, thank you, sweetheart. Whereas you have a very good sense of smell, but you couldn't smell anything.
Absolutely not.
Which was scary. And I was like, I can smell burning, so we investigated.
The moment you say anything that is based around you can smell something, I believe you instantly, because your sense of smell is terrible. Which means that if you can smell it,
it's really bad.
Bad.
It's really bad. So then we started hunting around the van, looking in all the usual places. And we couldn't find it. The place that it was strongest, weirdly, was the bathroom, which made no sense at all.
It does now.
It did make no sense. Our heating unit's at the back, so nowhere near the bathroom. There was nothing at the front at all. It was odd. Eventually, we lifted up the cushions and we checked the fuse box and we found... Dun, dun, dun.
So we have just smelt burning while we're driving, and that is the fuse for the fridge that's melted completely. I'm about to tell you. Can't even get the thing out, it's melted in completely. I'll have to get the pliers.
And it was the fuse for the fridge that had burnt and then had melted to the fuse next to it. Do we know what the fuse next to it was for?
It was just one of the regular fuses. It doesn't matter what that one was. It's the fridge one that's caused the issue. What we could smell, just to focus on that a little bit, is it smelled like plastic burning. Funny old thing it was. It also smells exactly like if you put your Truma heating system onto hot water without putting the heating on, what happens is it heats up and it doesn't vent. It's a known side effect of the Truma thing. I'm
just going to repeat that in case, because I may have spoken over you at the important moment. I apologise. But so when you put your Truma hot water on, but not the heating, so like in the middle of summer, it makes this weird sort of plasticky, almost burning smell. And that's exactly what it smelled like. Which is why we were a little bit confused, because we were looking around at all the heating ducts and everything.
The reason why the Truma does that is because it's not venting. So instead of putting your hot water on, put your heating on, and it vents it and heats up your hot water at the same time.
Okay. Anyway, that wasn't what the smell was. So the smell was actually burning plastic, that was because the top of the fuse box, and I have a video of this which I will share, the top of the fuse box was actually burning because the fuse had got that hot and was burning. Started to catch on the battery on the fuse, top of the fuse thing, and then hang on, let me try and focus on that. So that's two fuses smelted together. Jesus.
2 fuses.
So what on earth have we done differently?
We've not done anything differently, but that has definitely caused an issue.
But why? See what it's trying to burn through the whole of the fuse box. So, moral of this story is when you can smell burning, don't ignore it. So what, was this 2 15 amp fuses?
Well, one's a 20 amp fuse, I don't know what the other one is.
Well,
the other one's
no,
15.
the blue's 15.
At 15, so it's 2 15-amp fuses.
And are they both for the fridge?
No, one's
So
for
what's the
something
other one
else.
for?
I don't know. I need to get the book out.
It's funny, you know, I was having a conversation with somebody in my Facebook group over the weekend about not leaving their dog in the motorhome ever in case it catches fire.
Yeah.
And I get it.
Yeah.
I don't understand what we've done differently. We haven't done anything differently. The fridge hasn't been turned on higher than normal, has it?
No, I mean it's on full power, but
And we've been plugged into the mains.
It's only just started.
So do you think this has happened this morning?
Yeah, this is.
So that's happened in what are we on now? 11 AM? That's happened in the space of what, a couple of hours? That's genuinely terrifying.
No, it could be a fault with the fridge. It could be that the fridge is packed up. I just changed the fuse.
So we lifted up all the cushions and we discovered burning fuse, and we were quite shocked. Honestly, I was quite shocked.
Yeah, I mean, it's a strange one. The fuse didn't blow. That's
No.
the first thing to note on this.
It didn't blow.
It was the correct size fuse.
Yep.
It's the factory fitted fuse. The van is only 18 months, 2 years old,
Yep.
2.5 years old.
And we've been using, I mean, how long have we spent in this van since we bought it?
And
Goodness
it's
knows
on
how long.
battery every trip.
Yeah. So there was nothing that we did differently. There's no reason that was obvious why it would suddenly just catch fire. So obviously we replaced it.
Because there was no exact problem to fix, we had to try and replicate the problem first. So we had to...
No, we literally tried to get our van to catch on fire again.
Yeah, well, no...
You can imagine my joy.
Not quite. What we did is we replaced the fuse with a new fuse.
Yes.
So there were
Always
a couple
carry
of
spare fuses.
Yeah, there were a couple
Always.
of options. One was it was a faulty fuse.
Yes.
Should have blown,
Yep.
and it didn't. Another one was it had a gradual surge of power over time that caused it to get hotter and hotter and hotter, and eventually it went. You've either got a faulty fridge, faulty circuit board, something like that, a short in a wire somewhere, bad fuse making the break-in or fuse box, or a problem with the power supply.
Well,
The fridge is on now.
give it 10 minutes and we'll see if it's on fire. Smell it again. I can smell burning again. Now whether that's just because there's current going through that or not, I don't know, but there's definitely burning and it wasn't there just now.
Yeah, it's starting to get warm. Jesus.
Right, take it off, don't let it
Yeah.
catch fire again. So what's causing that? We've got an issue with our fridge.
The fridge is short now, so I've turned down the temperature, see if it's...
What was it on? Full?
It was on full,
And
yeah.
what's it on now?
I'll just turn it on to 2. Try and see if it burns my finger. If it burns my finger, we've got a problem.
Oh, it was burning your finger just now. So has it got
Yeah,
cooler?
I've turned it down now. Yeah, it's definitely got cooler. Yeah, that's nowhere near as hot.
Yeah, but is that just because we've not left it for long enough? I'm worried that if we set off driving.
But the other one was straight away. And what we
Yeah,
are going to do is drive with this up.
Okay.
You'll have to keep checking it.
Okay. So we're happy it's not burning anymore at the moment.
I've checked the back, everything seems alright. At the moment it's not burning. What I want to do is there are a couple of connectors that could be construed as loose a little bit, only slightly.
Okay.
But it could be enough to create a dry joint.
It could also have been caused by the campsite we were just on.
I'm slightly concerned that that campsite electric was bad and it's got the software in the fridge or the Sergeant confused.
Okay. So have you reset the Sergeant now?
So I've reset the Sergeant. What we've done is we've changed the fuse
How do you
and
reset the Sergeant?
the power button there.
Oh, you just turn it on now.
And then what I've also done is we've done the same with the fridge, reset it. What I want to do now is I want to turn that fridge up. The engine's running. I want you
Turn it
to
up
turn the
to
fridge
full
up
power.
full, and I want to feel if this gets too hot. And the ideal scenario is it'll blow the fuse,
Okay, it's on full.
and that's on battery, not gas.
I can hear the gas ticking down. That is on. Yeah, it's on battery.
You can hear it ticking.
Yeah.
Right, and the fuse is blown.
So that was initially one of our theories.
One of the theories.
But now that we've changed the fuse and it's been fine for 3 days.
We did several different things. So what we did was
Okay.
I switched off the fridge completely, switched it back on.
Yep.
Number two.
Did that reset
and
it?
you, yeah, and you said it sounded like the fridge was trying to light on gas.
It did out the
It
outside.
wasn't. What it was doing, it was pulsing from the alternator feed. So it was going tick, 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 which sounds like the gas.
Yeah,
light.
it does.
Yeah, that meant, as soon as I heard that, I knew there was a problem with the power supply. Because it only does that when a 12-volt feed has failed, if the engine's running. We reset the fridge.
Yeah.
We then investigated the power supply, found the problem.
Yeah.
I replaced the fuse, but what I also did was I took the power supply out.
And check the cables and
checked
stuff at the back.
all the cables
Yeah.
at the back, checked that there was nothing visible. There was one connector that was 0.5 millimetre
Yeah.
loose. I mean, it's minuscule, but it was slightly out. You know,
Yeah.
there was that point I could push it back in and it clicked. So, 3 possible options there.
Yeah.
One is dodgy fuse, which doesn't explain why it went, but if the fuse was making a break in, maybe it did. Because that fridge on DC will draw a lot of current. That
Yeah.
fuse will get hot no matter what.
And it was on full power as well.
It was on full power, that's the other thing. So
Yeah.
we then, once we did that, we needed to find out if it could do it again.
I'm sorry, you were being a pain. I swear to God, dog, if you knock that over, he's right behind the camera. What was this dry joint thing you were talking about?
Couple of things. In our very first van, the McLouis, we had exactly the same problem with a 12-volt fuse. It kept blowing it. And what it turned out to be was the Sargent power supply was an early power supply, and there's a dry joint on solder. What that means is, when you look at a circuit board, you've got a shiny silver thing, and you've got a component on the other side.
I'm following your hand
Okay,
so
yeah,
people
yeah.
can see.
It makes a connection between the pin on the component and the solder pad on the circuit board. Okay, so the solder goes over it and touches the two together. The problem is, that's a blob of solder, that's the pin on, and there's the circuit board. Yep. No, she's not even getting close to this thing. All right, I'm on. So that's what I'm doing. That's the circuit board. The pin has gone.
Hang on. Right there.
Right. So that's the circuit board. The pin has gone through the circuit board, and on this side is a shiny copper pad.
Yeah.
The blob of solder gets melted up, and it covers it, and it should connect to that. I promise this is not a sex education class. Okay, and it should connect that to that. Now,
I did not expect this video to take this turn.
if that pin gets hot, if there's too much current going through it and it gets hot,
Yeah.
what it can do is it can melt bits of the solder inside. So instead of making this really nice snug fit,
Yeah.
it makes a dry joint. So from the outside, it looks solid. From the inside, it's not even touching the pin. That's called a dry joint. Now,
Okay, that makes sense.
what happens is, when it makes and breaks lots of times, it generates lots of heat.
So, after that
So-
quite extremely exciting
There are
explanation.
possible options. of
Yes.
what could-
Once we realised it was still getting too hot, we did all the other checks, put it all back together again, and since then what we did was we waited for about 10 minutes, no smoke or flames or anything horrendous. Yes, thank you, sweetheart. And then we drove and sort of stopped every 10-15 minutes and checked them again.
It was
We
fun.
did that for about an hour and a half until we were fairly happy that nothing else horrendous was going to happen.
Put the seat back
And we keep checking it. Even now, all these days later, we
No,
keep checking it.
Because what we did do, we turned down the fridge because the
Yes.
power drain is directly proportionate to the temperature you have the fridge set at.
So, it wasn't catastrophic by any means.
Could have been.
But it could have been.
Could have been really. We were very.
So,
lucky.
give me your biggest takeaways from our very lucky near miss, because it was a lucky near miss.
For God's sake, have a smoke alarm.
Yes, although I was thinking about this, we sleep, we make up the bed at the back and the fuse box is under one of those seats, and that could have been hilarious if it had gone at night.
The thing with that is the battery only works when the engine's running, and I believe they do that for that reason, because it's a safety feature.
And also, if you smell burning, check your fuse box. Because we
Yeah.
took way too long to do that. It was silly of us.
Yeah, well, we went through everything else.
We went through everything else that we could think of.
I
It
mean,
didn't.
It is
yeah.
a real acidic kind of.
It smells like you're heating
Burning-
or hot water.
burning
That hot water
acrylic,
smell.
yeah.
Yeah, it was burning plastic.
The slightest smell, no matter what it is,
Mm-hmm.
doesn't matter, how much you take the mickey out of each other. Always investigate.
Yeah.
The smell. Always.
Because it would have been so easy to just dismiss that.
Oh, we'd have been a statistic on the side of the
Yeah, we
motorway. It
would
was
have.
that bad.
It was pretty bad. Mine is over him, over the dog, because although we never leave him when it's baking hot, we do leave him for an hour or two when we want to go explore something that he's not allowed in, and it's horrible to think that might have happened when he was on his own in the van. So I think we're going to be, or I'm certainly going to be way more cautious over leaving him Although right now, oh baby, what am I saying? What am I saying? I think that's it for takeaways. Anything else you want to share?
No, I think that's it.
Awesome. So, not catastrophic, could have been, and I'm hoping that those points help anybody else avoid something similarly and horribly and things. Cool. I'd say if you enjoyed this, but it was quite a sick subject to enjoy, but if you enjoyed our pain and misfortune and you'd like to see more of it, because there probably will be some more of it.
There was lots.
There was lot. This was not a good trip, or has not been a good trip so far. Let's hope it improves. But yeah, if you're not subscribed already and you'd like to see more, then by all means click the little subscribe button and the bell, and you'll get notified when our next video is out. I'm going to try and do something with the dog, and I will see you soon. Take care.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.